The Lion King is Disney's newest live-action remake. It's directed by Jon Favreau and stars a big cast list of very talented actors. And this movie tells a story about a little cub named Simba who grows up to be the king of Pride Rock while meeting characters like Timon and Pumbaa. His friend Nala grew up with him, and his evil uncle Scar, who's trying to take over the mantle of king from him. Disney's live-action remakes have been very hit and miss for me, especially lately. I wasn't really a fan of Aladdin, and though I liked Beauty and the Beast, I didn't love it like everyone else did. They're watchable, you know, you can tell there's some effort at least, put into them, so they are at least watchable. They've just been not as good as the animated ones, and now we've got The Lion King, we're getting The Little Mermaid and Mulan soon, but right now we're talking about The Lion King, the one that everyone was excited about, including myself. I love the original Lion King so much. I wasn't even actually born when it came out. I was born the following year, but I did grow up watching it, and it's been a favorite of mine ever since I saw it for that first time. And now it's this movie's turn to get the live action treatment, and this movie's kind of been all over the place because critics are not really liking it all that much, though audience members do like it. So it could have been hit or miss for me. And walking in, I started to get a little bit more excited, but when it ended, unfortunately, all my fears for the movie came true, and this movie, like Aladdin and the previous ones, it let me down pretty much. Now, this isn't a terrible movie. I didn't hate this movie. I can tell that there was some effort put into this movie, but my biggest problem with this movie is that it is 95% the exact same movie as the original. Now, to me, that's not what a remake should do. A remake, in my eyes, should take the source material and either put it in a new perspective or do something completely different with it, or do something a little bit different with it, but it should justify itself besides just making a remake to make money. And that's unfortunately what this movie felt like to me. When I look at remakes, I think of Dredd 3D. And also I'll add to that the new Child's Play that came out this year. Dredd took the original movie, because it's technically a remake of the original from 1995. It took that movie and completely threw away everything that it did and retold the story closer to the source material. And Child's Play did a similar thing. It took the source material and took it in a much different direction and pretty much updated it to the modern times. Now, I'm not saying all remakes should just ignore what the previous movie did and just do something different. There are exceptions to doing the same thing, but it needs to justify itself. And in terms of The Lion King, I know people are saying this, and I hope it wasn't true, but it kind of is. I thought back to the remake of Psycho, and that is not a good thing. If you remember the remake of Psycho, it was literally shot for shot exactly like the original. The same camera angles, the actors were hitting the same beats as the original actors, they were giving the same dialogue. Nothing was updated for the modern times. And that's one of the worst remakes of all time. It's my least favorite remake of all time. Now, this Lion King is, I would say, much better than the Psycho remake. But I did think back to the Psycho remake when I was watching this, and that's not a good thing. There are some changes in this movie, but it's very little to the point where you don't even notice it all that much. But really quick, let's spread some positivity in here. And the biggest compliment for this movie is the effects. Now, of course, they didn't film actual lions. They were all CGI, and it looks amazing. What Disney has done with CGI is something to applaud. It looks real. You can see the individual hairs coming off the lions. You can see the dirt in the leaves in the trees crystal clear, like they actually filmed it. And that's incredible. That is incredible that they did that. They did the same thing with the Planet of the Apes prequel trilogy, because those apes looked amazing. They looked real, and the same thing with this one. So my biggest compliment for this movie are the effects. It looks absolutely incredible what they did. But now that leads me to another problem, and that is the movie doesn't fully 100% work as a live action style movie. It could have worked if some things were different. But if I'm being 100% honest with myself and you guys here, there were times, shots and moments that felt kind of awkward, because you can tell that they're doing the exact same movie as the original. They're not really changing or doing anything new. So it doesn't really work, because that was meant for animated. if you get my drift. Now, one thing I was excited about was the cast. I love the cast for this movie so much, and that let me down too because everyone felt very bland. It felt like they were giving stage play performances, and these are great actors. The biggest disappointment for me was Mufasa. Now, I can't believe I'm saying this because I love James Earl Jones. He killed it in the original. But here, he felt like he was just brought in to read lines in like a couple days and then that's it. It's not like he didn't care about this movie. It didn't feel like none of the actors cared about this remake. They all felt very bland, and it didn't help that the animals in the movie didn't have facial expressions. Now, I know animals don't show the over-the-top facial expressions like they did in the original. You know, the high eyebrows and the sad looks and the great smiles. You know, they don't show that. I get that. But that leads into the problem I mentioned earlier, not everything working for a live-action style. If your character doesn't show emotions, whether facial expressions or giving a certain tone in the dialogue, then you don't care. And I didn't really care because I didn't feel that emotional weight that some of the characters went through, and that's because they didn't show emotion and the performances were very bland. I couldn't latch onto the characters like I did in the original. Now let's talk about the score, because the new songs, they're basically the same songs, but the reissued songs, if you will, like The Lion Sleeps Tonight, Can You Feel the Love, The Circle of Life, they are really good. The singers do an incredible job. But just like everything else, that leads into a negative, because the background music, like the orchestra type music, it doesn't feel like it's anything new. It feels like they took the CD from the original movie and then just put it into this movie without any effort to reamp it a little bit more or to make it sound more dramatic, or I don't know, just add something new to it. It feels like Disney didn't care about doing something a little bit different. It's like they were scared of doing a little bit different. Now, I will admit to the people out there watching that are about to say, well, it's The Lion King, you know, why would you change what isn't broken? Well, I'll get into that in a minute, but I'm not asking this movie to be a completely different movie where everything was just stripped down and we got 100% something different. I get that, and I wasn't expecting that, but I was hoping it wasn't going to be a 100% basically shot-for-shot remake only in live-action form. And I don't like the comments that people are saying, well, what did you expect? It's The Lion King. Well, really quick, if you're not going to justify yourself as a remake by taking some risks or doing something a little bit different, then what's the point in remaking it? That movie already exists. If you're only going to change like 5% of your movie, there's no point in honestly making it. Yeah, you could say they did it because they wanted to do it live action, but like I mentioned earlier, they barely paid attention to that. Yes, it looks good, and people that's something people are going to defend to the planet with this movie. And I'm with you. The effects do look good. But good-looking effects aren't enough to carry this movie for me when, honestly, the performances are pretty bland. The songs just feel stripped from the original, just thrown in here. And I didn't feel that level of suspense or emotion in this movie because, one, the characters didn't show it, and two, I knew exactly what was gonna happen. And so there wasn't that level of surprise that I was waiting to see from the emotional stuff or the intense stuff, because I knew exactly what was gonna happen. The movie literally starts and ends exactly how the original does. But for some reason it feels longer. Now, to some fans, that's probably going to be fine for them. I saw it with my sister earlier today, and she really loved it. And I'm glad that she loved it, because she loved The Lion King just a little bit more than I did, because I think that was the first movie she ever saw. So for some fans, doing the same story just in live action is going to be enough. And that's perfectly fine if that's enough for you. You know, like I said, this movie's all over the place. But for me, I wanted something a little bit more. That being said, this movie is watchable. I should say this. It is watchable. Like, if I decide to buy the Blu-ray, which I probably will because I have a huge collection, I'll definitely rewatch it. It's not like I'm gonna pop it in and then just hate every single second of what's going on and wish I was dead or wish this movie would just burn. No, I can watch it and I'll be fine watching it, but those problems are gonna stick out for me. So I'm probably gonna get some hate for this video because a lot of people are liking this movie, a lot of audience members are liking it, but again, film is subjective. And no, there is no right answer for how you view a movie. Some people love this movie, some people hate this movie. And it's all over the place. And you should just make up your own opinion. You shouldn't just listen to my opinion or someone else on YouTube or the critics on Rotten Tomatoes. Make up your own opinion. If you love the movie, then great. Go watch the movie and go love it. If you don't like the movie, that's fine too. Don't let people saying you're stupid because you hate the movie or you're stupid because you love the movie affect your enjoyment for it. Do you love it? Great. Go watch it. Do you not like it? Fine. Go let the people who do like it go watch the movie. I'm one of those people that's a little bit in the middle for this movie, but I am leaning towards the not liking it. The movie's okay at best, and that's way lower than I was hoping for it. And I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. This movie's a major letdown for me. Maybe on second viewing it'll be better, but I'm not gonna go out of my way to see it in theaters. I'll probably wait for the Blu-ray to come out and then watch it then. But yeah, if I'm being 100% honest with myself and you guys, I was really let down with this movie. If there's anything this movie has done for me, it's realized the fact that I'm done with these Disney live-action remakes. I was a huge supporter of them, but now I think I'm done with them. For Mulan and The Little Mermaid and the other ones, I'm probably just going to sit those one out, unless, you know, the response from both critics and audiences is unanimously loved, then I'll probably check them out, but for right now, I'm done with them. So what did you guys think about The Lion King, this new live-action remake? Do you love it? Do you hate it? What do you love about it? What don't you like about it? Whatever your thoughts on it is, let me know in the comment section. Just be adults and be respectful of other people's opinions, please. And as always, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, click right here. And I will see you guys next time.